Welcome to another episode of I Take
D.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Carla.
And today's topic is time management. Let me share Ephesians 5:15 and a little bit of verse 16. It says, "So then, be careful how you live. Do not be unwise, making the best use of your time." So we want to talk about time management today and just share a little bit of our own experience. Remember, we're not experts about this. We just want to share our own experience. And you have joined us on I Take D Ministries on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter,
YouTube,
we have our YouTube
Instagram.
channel, Instagram. We are everywhere. So you have no excuse. Watch the video, share with others. You know, we just want to have an opportunity to connect with you guys. So time management. Well, you know, this is a topic we bring up because, we've had so many different moments where we've had to use time management. And one of those, I can remember my political career when I was, I was a councilman for the city of Hartford, for those of you who do not know. And then I ran for mayor. And so it was very difficult because I had to be everywhere, knocking on doors, and then I had my full-time job, and then at church, and oh my God, there was so many different things that it could have turned out a disaster. But it all started with first coming into agreement on how we were going to handle our time.
I think it's important because, again, you probably get tired of listening to this word, but communication is such a big key even in time management. Because if you're not communicating with your husband or with your spouse in regards to, you know, what we need to put together, what does the schedule for the family looks like if you have children, you know, how is this major job or responsibility that you have is going to overtake and switch the family roles. You have to have those communications. You have to have those conversations of how can we best manage our time.
Yeah, I mean, time management is key. Even the small, so, you know, for us, one of the things we recognized from the very beginning is that a second meant a lot. A minute meant a lot, an hour meant a lot, and a second meant a lot. I mean, think about it. Even if I ask you right now to just sit still and do nothing for 10 seconds, you'll notice how much 10 seconds are. They're pretty long. But because we, in a very loving way, we waste a lot of time. And we're just not good at managing our time, and we need to learn. People always ask us, how do you guys do it? Because even so, politics is over, right? But Carla has a full-time job. I have a full-time job. A lot of our work in the church is really full-time. And then, you know, the parental things that we have to do with our daughters. I mean, it can get very, very busy, yet we find time, and people are always asking us, like, what do you do? And sometimes to make a joke out of it, I said, I just do like Joshua. I'll ask the Lord to stop the sun so he can extend my day. But all jokes aside, really it's just time management. I really, I maximize as much as I can for that moment. And I value every second means something to me. You know, it's really about quality, not about quantity. If I know I'm going to have a very long day where I might not see Carla for the entire day, and we actually practiced this when I was in politics, we will go out to lunch together because we knew there was some time management there. We needed to come together and spend time for us, right? And the same thing with, I mean, anything in time management. You have to, it has to be intentional. And there goes that word again, intentional. You know, we talk about communication, now we talk about being intentional again.
And I think you also have to learn how to say no.
Oh,
say no to certain things that you want to say yes to. And again, that's a little bit tough when it comes to family gatherings, friends, and coworkers. If you're a type of person that like to hang out with your coworkers after work, you know, that comes to, you know, it comes to a moment that it's like, no, thank you, you know, because you have to be able to manage the time. So, you know, for example, you know, you're working already 8-hour a day, and the coworkers want to get together at the end of the afternoon, you know, just to catch up and relax because of a hectic week. But then the hour and a half that you gave to the coworker, you neglected at home with your family, with your husband, with your kids. So again, I'm not saying it's not right. I'm not saying it's not good. Yes, you can have, go out, but how often do you do that, and how well do you manage your time? And was that communication said, with your spouse, to see where it goes? Because if you can't take pressures of those beautiful moments that you have, that hour, those 10 minutes, those 15 minutes, then it's just going to go away so quickly that you're going to miss that time.
Yeah, you just reminded me the other day about that. So I have a few business trips throughout the year, and one of them is coming up in May. And in my job, they asked me to attend an event, and the event falls like the day after I return from a business trip. And I immediately text Carla, and I'm like, babe, my job wants to know if you and I can go, because that's the other thing I do. I don't go to these events unless I go with my wife, because it's not that, then is he weak, and no. It's about accountability. And so I like other people to see that I am married and that I'm committed to my relationship. I'm committed to my marriage. But so anyways, they asked me, and I texted her, and she brought she brought me back, and she helped me kind of work things through. And she said, honey, that event happens on the day after you come back from a few days that you're not going to be home. And so you already know that our youngest is going to be asking for you. She's going to want to spend some time with you. And so do I. And I said, okay, so you know what? You're right. I have to say no to this event, because I will just be returning, and I really should be spending that time, managing my time to be with my wife and to be with our youngest and our oldest, who actually I believe she comes home that day as well from college. So it's a perfect timing where I really shouldn't be using that time for other things. So, time management is also about making sure you don't waste time, right? And sometimes, honey, you're right. Like, we waste time saying yes to other things, not because they're bad, but because they're just not they're not right for the moment. You need to carve out time for the things that are like within your home as well.
And I think it's one of the other things that we talked about during our conversation was, how important is it? Because you also need to talk about that thing. You don't want to just exclude something to the side and push it to the side when it's important to the other person. So how important is it to you? How important is it to your job, to whatever it is that you're doing? And let's talk about that. And could we say, okay, let's pass this on to someone else that can do it? Or could we say, well, let's work something because I really need to be there. It's important to me because of X, Y, and Z. So having those conversations are so important, because I can just be the wife and say, no, you're not going, period. No, it's having the conversations. You know what? You're coming back from a trip that you're going to be gone for a while. The youngest is going to miss you. She's going to want to have some time with dad when she gets home. So kind of measuring that so our daughter knows she's important. She comes first before anything else. And when we start building those characters of time management, even to our own kids, and they start seeing how we manage our time well, then they'll be stronger at managing their time as well as they get older.
Yeah, that's so on point. I mean, which other that is a beautiful way of showing your kids how important they are to you, when you learn how to manage your time, and you manage your time well enough where you're giving them time. And the same with your spouse. You want to show your spouse you love them, manage your time well.
That's right.
Because that is a perfect moment for you to connect. And if you manage your time well, you're not always going to find yourself with not enough time. People are always talking about, oh my God, there's not enough hours in the day. Well, it's not the day, it's your time management. So you got to take a look at that. And some strategies to that is, some people, what they do is they work on a schedule, so always have a schedule. And the other thing is, don't just plan things without really brainstorming and saying, can I really do that? Or no, I need some wiggle room here, or that might not be the best time to do this. So one, write it down. Put it on a calendar. There's so many apps nowadays for our smartphones. And some people still go old school, which is fine. I know somebody who goes old school. My cousin out there. She goes old school, but it works for her because she has it organized. She's able to manage her time. And I know she's super busy in her family. But she does it well. She's able to be there for her kids. She's able to spend time with her husband. She's able to do her schoolwork. She's able to spend time with her family and church and work. I mean, it's really about, strategies you want, write it down. Put it on your calendar. Share calendars. Brainstorm with each other. You think this is something I should go or this is something I should do? And perhaps that's the moment that your spouse says, maybe not, because remember we have this or that. And let them be that voice of reasoning.
Yeah. So I guess the question today is, how well are you managing your time? I think tonight, this evening, tomorrow, whenever you view this video, have that conversation with your spouse and see how you both are managing your time well, and if it's wisely. And if it's not wisely, what are the things that you need to do strategically to fix that so that you or your spouse doesn't get damaged through that process, neither your children if you have children at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we just want to thank you for joining us today. I hope your day goes wonderful. We love you guys. Again, this is I Take D Ministry. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us. You can subscribe on the YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We got it. We love you guys once again. Until next time.